You want to scoot up? Sure. You want to be a stranger? It takes everything for me to scoot up because I'm so short. I have to scoot the chair up.
There you
go. Okay, they are coming in. I'm adjusting cameras.
Okay.
And shalom, shalom. So let me get rid of that and look at my. And we want to make sure that the volume is off on this one here. Yes. Okay, so that's good. Are you in? You're in here. And we're looking for us to go live. Shalom, everyone. We're just adjusting things here. Bear with us. Hold on. I'm going to take us back and go here and see if we can find us.
Videos.
Yeah. I don't see it.
I don't either.
I don't know why it's not behaving itself. So, shalom, everyone. We are here, and I was trying to come up, get our video to show up, but of course it's not behaving. So that we can actually see the chat in another area, because on the phone it's way too small. So I don't know why it's not coming up, but it is not coming up for the, oh, you got it. So you can go live.
All right. No Memorex.
He's live. I can't go live. I don't know what the deal is, but anyhow, we will, there it is. It's just slow or something. All right. Well, we're here. I'm so glad that you guys made it out. How many of you got an opportunity to view the film, to watch the film that we're going to talk about? So today we're doing a live on part 2. Are we really ready? Are we really ready for what's coming? I'm going to have to go back out and change the title on this one here a little bit. So, hey family, Shalom Tina and Bob Bissell. I'm so glad you made it, Bob.
Oh, good day.
And Shalom, Pamela and Suzette. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So you were able to watch the movie.
Scary stuff.
Tell me what you thought.
Yep, I know we're
scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Kim K says, I watched Mary, and no, we are not ready. Was that movie an eye-opener for you guys? It was for me. Was it for you?
Yeah, it actually had a lot of really great information in it. There was a lot of details.
A lot of things that we were sitting there. I don't know if you guys are like us, but we were sitting there talking to the TV screen.
Exactly. Yeah, we definitely were.
I can't believe you did that. I can't believe it. What in the world are you thinking?
Yes.
So, for those of you that did not get an opportunity to watch the movie, were you able to go out to the community chat at least to watch the trailer? Because that would give you a brief synopsis of what went on in the movie. So I thought it would be important for you guys to see the movie so that you would know what points we were talking about.
Yeah.
And I would say, yes, the movie's name is Dragon Day. So if you have not seen it, please go out and look at it. And let me say shalom to Eve New Beginnings. Thank you so much for coming on and handling the moderator role for us. Once again, you are my beloved sister, and I love you. Thank you so very much for coming out. Same thing with Beauty in the Light. You also are my beloved sister, and I love you. And thank you for taking on the wrench as moderator tonight. Thank you so very much.
Okay, I see it.
Shalom, Brother Maurice. It's good to see you here. Janelle Wilcox says, I was just watching Red Dawn. Well, I've referenced Red Dawn several times in my videos, in speaking to you guys about dreams and visions that I've had with the soldiers being on foot in the neighborhoods, going door to door. So I have talked about the possibility of invasion here in our country, and that is what this movie is about, right?
It really is.
And what we want to do tonight is, you want to say that we're not experts? You want to say that part?
Sure.
Okay.
Just, throwing it out there, we are not experts. We don't have like a degree and expert in this. And
he makes up words as he goes too.
yes, exactly. It's kind of my thing. Anyway, but just some observations from things that we saw in the movie, and some things that kind of to think about, as of right now. I did like the comment about, nope, we're not ready, because there's a lot of people that are definitely not ready.
Not ready. We came away from the movie saying that we weren't ready. So I told him, I said, we need to take this movie to the family. We need to share it with them so that we can be better prepared in the event that something like this happens. Shalom, Peggy Feasters. Good to see you here, sis. Also, I want to say this. For those that have joined us and have no clue about what we're talking about, do you think you could give a brief synopsis of what the movie was about?
Brief.
Or would you want me to do it?
I guess I could try.
Okay.
I don't know how brief, but essentially it showed our country being invaded without actually having boots on the ground, ships on the shore, and the plausibility behind
on the
it.
land. Yeah.
So, and that was really it. And it was highlighting a family where the male character had some kind of an idea of what was going on, and how him and his family and some neighbors actually had to deal with the situation. There was a lot of eye-opening things in there.
Mm-hmm. So pretty much the opening of this movie was with this guy being laid off from a company. He's a tech guy, so he's a nerd. He's a tech guy, and he works for the federal government. Was the CIA or something like that, right?
NSA.
NSA. He works for the federal government, and he's being laid off. And so they open it with him and his family leaving their home to go to a location, and they ask, I hear the wife say, is this place safe? Something like that in the beginning of it. Yep. And shortly thereafter, and they meet up with a person who is renting the cabin that they're going to stay in. So they meet up with a person there that they weren't expecting to be there, and so there was a little bit of an issue there. But shortly thereafter, with all of those key players on the screen, there is a state of emergency that is declared by their president, stating that they have been invaded, if you will. Am I right?
Yep. One of the things I kind of liked about that was on their trip to the cabin, they had started seeing some interesting signs. For instance, they stopped in a gas station, and the guy was gonna put some fuel in his vehicle, and there was a big sign on the register desk, if you will, and it said cash only. And the guy had tried the ATM and it wasn't working. There was an issue with it. So kind of gave you the idea that maybe something was kind of going on. And it's one of those things that could happen anywhere. Wi-Fi drops at a remote location, and so he didn't take too much stock in it at the time, but these were kind of things that you see along the way.
These were signs, and they weren't paying attention. And here's the thing about that: would we pay attention in the event? Let's say that this scenario is real. Let's say that we are going to be invaded by another country. Let's take it and let's make it as real as possible. Would we notice the first signs is the question. not being able to use the ATMs like you mentioned, needing
Right.
to have cash on hand. Did somebody say something in there?
Yeah, it just somebody said that they've been seeing the signs. Try it. Let's see, I'm missing the name. Sorry, folks. I'm
Try it.
definitely
Oh,
new
it's
at
it's
this.
try it, buy it, make it, sell it.
There you go.
And try it, buy it, make it, sell it says I have been seeing cash only signs in some places, but card only in other places, and that's very true. I've seen the same thing as well, but this family would be prepared somewhat, right? Because you've heard Mary C say, make sure that you have cash on hand, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take it one step further and I'm going to say, make sure that you have some singles, a few singles, a couple of fives, and maybe a couple of tens, and a couple of 20s, on your person, or I'm going to say on your person. Slide them somewhere in your purse, your pocket, your wallet, wherever,
Right.
so that in the event that you go somewhere, you can, if they cannot take a card, you have cash to get what you need. So we're going to have to kind of go back old school. It seems like old school meant you had cash in your pocket, purse, pocketbook, whatever you want to call it, right? That's old school. We've gotten so used to the convenience of having a card, and we just swipe a card and the deal is done. And we look at it and say it's safer because you don't have cash, somebody won't rob you, blah, blah, blah. However, the way things look, we may really need to depend on going back to old school ways.
Or at least making sure that you've got some cash on hand, whether you keep it on your person or your get home bag, or maybe a stash spot at the house, just so that you have it available if you need it. It's one of those things that if you don't have to spend it, then it's not doing anything, just like it would be sitting in your bank not doing anything. So just a great idea. I really
Oh,
liked
okay.
it.
Rosie's on. Shalom, sis, Queen Zion Rich.
Okay.
And you say you stop cashing my coins. Thanks for the advice. Yes. So all of you out there in the family, if you have been taking your quarters, your nickels, your dimes, and your pennies, and you have been going to the coin machines and cashing them in for dollar bills and what have you, I'm going to suggest to you to hang on to some of those coins. And I say that because there is a supposedly coin shortage. And the shortage is because they're not making them as much as they were beforehand, but there's value in those coins. Hang on to your coins. Stop getting rid of your coins. I believe that there's gonna come a time where you're gonna need them. So thank you for mentioning that, Queen Zion Rich. Johnny Yuma says they're going to Bitcoin, so soon no cash at all then. But that's only one part of this scenario
Right.
of invasion. I don't know if you noticed it, but they didn't, like you said, they did not need to put boots on the ground.
Right.
Not necessarily. Why? Because of people who are your neighbors, your friends, and your family will take up the charge against their own people in order to get supplies for themselves.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah. So you're having people willing to just roll right over to make sure that they're safe, or they and their family are safe. Um,
Yeah, I say desperate times
Desperate measures.
create desperate measures. So you're going to end up with frenemies
Yeah.
who will turn you in or sell you out down the pipeline, and you're going to get to the point where who can you trust? And here's the thing. So once we get to a point of, I want to say what Maurice said too before I get too long, but once we get to a point of invasion and we are short on supplies and food, water, and that type of thing, that's when people are going to be desperate. That's when they're going to start doing desperate things, and we need to be able to watch out for that. And before I go any further on that, I want to mention what Maurice says about the cash. He says that they have cash ready for one-time, last-time use. So if you don't want to have your pocket, your purse, your pocketbook full of cash, do what Maurice and his family do, and they have a little bit of cash that's ready for one time, just in case of an emergency. They have it. They don't. I'm assuming you don't mess with it. You leave it there, and it's ready for that one time that you find yourself in desperate need, and it's there for your use for that time frame. And I think that's a good idea. Shalom, Grammy, y'all.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Like I said, if it's just sitting there, it's just sitting there. If you don't need it, you don't need it. But
at least you have it in
right.
case of an emergency.
Right. Because you never know when that one time is going to happen.
So, Shalom test cooks for you. Shalom, shalom. So I'm going to go to, I've got a little bit of a list on of notes. So I'm going to kind of go through those. So after a state of emergency has been declared, I asked the question, what then? And you guys are out there. If you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. What then? What do you do? What will you do when we get to the point where the president comes on and says that they're going to call a state of emergency or declare a state of emergency because we have been invaded? What will you guys do? Remember, we want this to be interactive. What will you do? What's the first thing that you guys plan on doing? And I see Pamela Montgomery at Homestead says, lock it down. Give us a little bit more information, Pamela. What do you mean by lock it down? And yes, Diana Mendoza, you said they always show us what they have planned in the movies. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Hunkering in. Jatina Harris says hunkering in. Farah Reed says, put wood over your windows. How many of you at this point in time, let's say we get that emergency declared right now, how many of you have enough supplies, water, food,
cash,
gas on hand right now that would take you into what, 6 months?
Yeah, 6 months.
Let's say the next 6 months.
I think one of the things that they brought out in the movie were a lot of really great scenarios because you could really see it happening. For instance, there was a part where I guess it was the guy's sister took his young daughter and they were going to go back into town and get some ice cream and just kind of do some stuff while there was other things going back on at the cabin. And when she got there, she too found out that the ATMs weren't working. And on their way home, the car stops in the middle of nowhere. And
on a highway.
Yeah, she's dressed in, some nice clothes and high heels, of course. And apparently an EMP had happened in the proximity. And basically, at that point in time, now she's stranded out on a highway
with a little one.
And
not dressed appropriately for an emergency.
Right, no provisions in the car, nothing to kind of fall back onto. I mean, because let's face it, at that point when a state of emergency is declared, the prepping is done. There's no more stocking up. There's no more. Whatever you've got is what you got.
Okay, let me stop you there because you need to repeat that so that they get it. For those in the back, hear what he says. The moment
an emergency is declared, the time for prepping is gone. It's ended.
You hear that?
There's no more stocking up. There's no more run to the store. There's no more go to the cash mart or anything else. You're in it.
Okay. And I saw a lot of you say that the minute that the emergency is declared, you're going to pray. And I think that's excellent because we're going to need the Most High more than anything at that point in time. That is excellent. Yeah.
first call, and definitely at that point in time, it's time to assess.
And get serious. And at that point, it's no playtime. It is time to get serious. And again, to go back, to piggyback on what Mr. C said, is this: that young lady had the little one with her out on the road by themselves. They had no cash, no water, no food,
no supplies,
no anything. She did not have a bug out bag in her car, so she didn't watch one of my videos. So she wasn't prepared. She should have had and we were going through the movie, and we were looking at the fails, and that was one of the fails. Well, you mentioned the cash was not having cash was first fail.
Right.
The second fail we noticed was with this woman who was dressed inappropriately for this emergency
situation, right?
And she had no bug out bag in her car. She had no supplies in order to do what she needed to do. She was not prepared, not just her, but the rest of them were not prepared for an EMP. They weren't prepared to have their phones not work. They weren't prepared to have the vehicle, newer vehicles to stop. So now you're seeing this. You can look at these things and you can prepare.
Right.
Based on what we saw happen in this movie.
Yeah.
Get a crank up emergency radio, Bob Bissell, 100%. You guys have seen mine. So that is something that is, I believe everyone should have one of those at home.
Yeah. I mean, and for the car, most of them refer to a get home bag. So it's not your full Bob bag, but what it does have is enough stuff in it. So we're talking maybe some food, some snacks to be able to get from where you're at to a safe location or home. Water, definitely a change of clothes. Could even have a blanket or a tarp in the car. Just, it doesn't have to be a lot of stuff. You don't have to fill up the back of your van with, Walmart. You just want to make sure that you've got something in the car in in an emergency situation. And it doesn't even have to be the world is ending kind of a scenario. You could be out on a rural road someplace, get a flat tire, no signal.
In the dark, so you'd make sure you have a flashlight in the car.
A first aid kit.
Just little things.
Yeah.
I like what Bob Bissell says. He says the government is not going to come and save you. We have to think, and we have to think clearly on what we ourselves can do to prevent our death and to promote our survival. We have to really think about that. So, what was I going with that? Weapons and security is another one. I wasn't going there, but that's another thing that we have on the list is weapons and security. Right. Oh, you know what I was going to say is going back to in the beginning when the emergency is just declared. That's when you have time. One of the first things that in that movie, the husband asked his wife to do when he had to leave was he asked her, because they'd just gotten the alert, he asked her to fill up the tub with water.
Right.
She had that one job to do and she failed.
Big time.
She failed it. But he told her to fill up the tub with water. Why? Why would he tell her to do that? And this is something for you family out there to know. In the event that we lose electricity, a lot of our pumps are for water and such are run by electricity. If you lose electricity, you lose that resource, if you will. So that was one of the first things that he said. So the first things we would do, like you were saying, pray. Some would cover their windows. You go and make sure that your weapons are ready. Make sure you got your emergency supplies ready, your flashlights, all of those things. Take stock of your water, take stock of your food. Do you run to the store? No, you don't get up and get in the car and go run to the gas station or run to the store or anything like that. Make sure you got your cash on hand. What am I missing? And
one of the things besides praying to God first would be to assess the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where she's going with it, making sure that you've got all your supplies and all your stuff together so that you can face whatever it is. But assess the situation. Is this really something super critical? Do I really need that box of Twinkies upstairs? There's a lot of weird things. And really, think about it. You're not going to know what you're going to do until it's time to do it. There's a lot of folks out there that want to be, I'm Rambo.
Right, but there are a lot of rambles out there, but you can prepare in the
Absolutely.
sense that you can play the scenario out in your head, because once you put something like that in your head, if it happens, you're not in shock. You're not stunned. Oh, it doesn't hit you as a surprise, because if you can role play in your mind,
Yeah.
then I believe that you are better prepared when something actually happens. Why? Because you've already thought about it. You've thought through the process of what would I do in
Yeah.
this scenario. So I know that there are a lot of rambles that are out there. A lot of them are more talk than anything else.
Sure.
However, I think that there are things that we can do. For example, like when we go to the store, grocery store, what have you, doesn't matter. We don't go in like normal people. I'm assuming at this point we're not normal
Yeah.
because we don't
I
go
agree.
in and just, oh, we're going to shop. We go in and we take stock of the area that we're in. We
Yeah.
look around, we see the
Who's
people that are
around? Where's
there,
the exits?
exits, and so we
Yeah.
have been doing that for some time. So if an emergency were to happen while we're out, we're probably less likely to panic like some other people would. We would be looking to get ourselves together
Right.
and head in the direction that the crowd is not going in.
That's a fact.
Okay, so we have gone through some, we've gone through a few scenarios in our heads together on what we should do in the event certain things happen.
Yeah, it's one of those things, everybody, if something happens, you're going to be surprised. But when you stop and assess, and that's what she's saying, when we go to the store, we assess things. When we driving on the road, we assess things.
Hmm.
It's not so much a paranoia thing or whatever. It's just you don't know when something's going to happen. For all you know, it's a perfect, great day, but you're out on a drive, the car crashes, dies on the road. So, it's just one of those things you want to be aware of what you can do in your mind. And the more you think about some of these things, the better ideas that you're going to come up with, and who knows, there's a lot of different things, a lot of different ways of handling the same situation.
Hmm. I agree with you.
So,
So Test Cook for you says, I don't have a bug out bag. I'm staying in place. Okay. And you have to do what works for you.
yeah,
Again, we are not experts,
nope,
but we love the family enough that we want to share with you what we know. And perhaps you can try what we do. Uh, but the bottom line, the goal is survival. So if you've got a different plan in place, and it means that that's going to be survival for you, you have to do what works for you.
yep,
And again, we're not here to say, oh, you have to do it this way. No, but we are giving you suggestions. Like when he told her to fill that bathtub up. Again, I'm going to go back to that. You fill it up because later on you see, as the time went on, and I don't know how much time had passed,
yeah,
but they got to the point where they were desperate for water,
right,
to the point of willing to kill one another for this water. And so we don't want to get to the point where we are lacking supplies. So I'm going to kind of go over a few things that's going on right now in our world that tells us that we should be prepping. We should be preparing. If you have not started, what are you waiting on?
right.
Now is the better time than any to do this thing. So I'm going
Right,
to just
Grandma Yao said it right. Yeah, there's no single one size fits all. You got to do what you got to do, and you got to do what's right for you.
I like what Monica says, to bury your supplies and food in your yard.
Yep.
Why would that be a good idea? That would be an excellent idea, because in this movie we see that the sheriff
Yeah.
of this town,
Yeah.
he went rogue. Pretty much he gave in to the enemy and was working for the enemy. And that's why we were saying you don't necessarily need to have boots on the ground of enemy force or soldiers. How they were able to take over was through technology,
Right.
and the country's own people.
Yep.
Who were greedy enough and selfish enough that they wanted to make sure that they and their families had supplies. So what they did was they gave those that were in compliance with the enemy, they gave them bracelets.
Right.
And in order to buy, you had to, if you wanted to get supplies, you had to have this bracelet. You could, and then they also put limitations on where they could go, how far out they could go.
Yeah.
So there were roadblocks and things like that. So the bracelet would keep you within a certain area. So it was in essence made you slaves to this enemy force, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so the sheriff of this town, he bought it hook, line, and sinker,
Yeah.
and he became an enemy.
Yeah, well, he had the intention. He thought he was going to be big boss of this small community, and he was willing to do whatever it took to be that big boss in this little community. It was
It was not only just being big boss; he was also making sure he didn't have supplies, he didn't have water, so he was willing to kill for the water, and he did.
right.
So when they run out or they can't use what they have or don't have any supplies, they're going to come. You're going to be their source.
Yep.
They're going to come knocking on your door. And
if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. Only because of the fact that if he's the one in charge of distribution of supplies and rations to those people that have already rolled over or okay with this whole takeover thing, then he knows right where to go for food. I'm sure he's got, a list or a tablet, something that tells him, oh, all I gotta do is go down a couple blocks, look at that, there we go. So it was a lot of really interesting things.
And a lot of things that people were doing, I thought were a little stupid. And then we know in real life, reality, stupid is going to happen as well. But I was talking about going through and talking about the things that are occurring right now in our world that we need to be paying attention to. And as a result of paying attention to it, then we should be looking at things in ways that we can further accumulating our supplies and our stocks of foods and other items. So hopefully that made sense.
Yeah.
So one of the things, I'm going to just go down the list, and I'm going to try to do it quickly because we don't want to keep you guys too long on this. And if you see something in the chat, you can go ahead and stop me. Okay. But so I'm sure you've heard already about the food plants that were on fire, right? I'm sure you heard about those already. So we already have dire situations that are going on with our food supply, farming stuff. I mean, I'm going to just go down the list. We have a shortage and then price increase of fertilizers. So farmers are learning just like us, just like the average person. When you go to the store and there's something that you're looking for and the price has gone, crazy, you find, alternative methods of doing what you need to do. And our farmers are going to have to get to the point where they find alternative means for the fertilizer and other things that they put into the soil to what is the word?
Supplement the ground,
right?
Or the soil.
The soil, so that it's good for our food that's being grown. So, but the farmers are experiencing some issues as well. Okay, so our supply chains are choking, And people are finding that they're paying more for things like furniture and anything else that they've ordered, and it's taking longer for them to get to them.
Right.
So our supply chains are choking, and we talked about the grains and how this war overseas has impacted our grains supply. So shortage there. And also, I just recently heard, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but we're having an issue with our rice. So the yields, according to experts, has dropped 10% this year. So we're not going to have as much, and the price is going to be hiked a little higher for rice. So get your rice if you're into rice. Get your rice now while you can. We have gotten so used to a one-click economy where we just go out to Amazon, find something we want, click, they've spoiled us.
Yep.
You click on the button and they tell you it'll be there within 2 days, 1 day sometimes. We've gotten so used to that one-click economy type shopping. It's not gonna last forever. That's a convenience that we probably should not get so used to, because it's not gonna last forever.
Yep.
I'm going to say so.
Yeah, I was just gonna say no. It's an awesome thing. I really enjoy Amazon. I use it frequently, but again, it can go away.
Yeah.
They could change policy.
Well, if they can't get the supplies in,
Right.
they're definitely not going to be able
Absolutely, yeah.
to fulfill it like that.
Yep.
If we're having to wait longer for our goods, they're going to be hit with this too. So they're not going to be able to fulfill like that. And then the other thing on the list is April 1st. There were thousands. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there were thousands of people who were evicted or from their homes that were made homeless recently, April 1st. And there are folks on a waiting list for rental assistance. So we just created, as of April 1st, additional homeless people.
Right.
Because they've been evicted from their homes. And we don't have a, what is it when they help? Assistance. The assistance has stopped. Okay. And then there is a food crisis that is around the world. We got, which this is one that I wasn't aware of, but you were aware of, and that's North Korea. I didn't know that North Korea was also facing food shortage. I had not heard that until yesterday, or was that today I was talking to you?
I think it was this morning.
This morning. Okay, I found out about that this morning, but you said you knew about it.
Yeah, I heard about that throughout the week.
Okay, so there are serious concerns, and there is a risk of starvation, and that's what's being reported in North Korea. We know that China is under an extreme lockdown at this point in time, right? And they're facing shortages and starvation. Shanghai has been hit really heavily. And those folks are screaming out their windows that they are starving. And a lot of our supplies are coming from China. And if the folks are in lockdown, they're not in the factories, they're not at the job, they're not working. So those products that we were ordering from China are not going to get to us anytime soon if this lockdown over there continues. And if they are starving, that's the sending out their products to us is probably the least of their worries at this point in time.
It's not a priority.
Okay, so these are things that we need to consider. War is having a major impact on our food supply, and the United Nations Food and Agricultural Organization is sounding the alarm. When they sound the alarm, then you should be paying attention.
Yeah.
You should be paying attention. So we got shortages, they're saying, in fuel, in fertilizer, and in seeds. Did I not tell you, family members, to go out and make sure you have your seeds? Make sure you have a good supply of seeds. So that is another thing. Sri Lanka is also in crisis. Okay? And I know many of you already know this. and this deals with our food. The largest private farmland ownership is owned by, can I say his name?
Sure.
Bill Gates, okay? In the United States, the largest private farmland is owned by one person, and that's Bill Gates. And then, and let me tell you what he has. He's got 269,000 acres across 18 states. One man, okay?
That's a lot of land.
That's a lot of land. And we're not talking about parks and things like that. We're talking farmland.
Right.
This is important to our food supply, farmland. And then I'm going to jump onto that one behind that. Did you know that China owns $2 billion worth of U.S. farmland? So is it a far stretch to think that we could be invaded by China? And I'm going to take it one step further, because they own the farmland. But the other thing I found out about them is they own billions of dollars in real estate in the United States here. In the United States, billions of dollars of real estate. And again, would it be a surprise that China could invade? They could do it with technology, just like we saw in the movie. They can do it, I would think, also with soldiers here on our soil. And how would they do it? They're already here. If they own billions of real estate, they could be hiding right, what do they call it? The enemy that's within.
Right.
They could be right here already.
Well,
This is something.
One of the largest food manufacturers.
Pork processing plant. They own, yes. You know what? They bought it's called Smithfield's Food.
Right.
It's one of the world's largest pork producing plants that's here, or companies that's here in the United States, and it's owned by a Chinese firm. We have been bought out.
Yep.
We have been sold, if you will.
Greed. What an awesome thing.
Yeah,
huh?
Greed. And then Bill Gates was talking about the next big pandemic. According to him, it's bioterrorism is one, climate change is the other. But he talked about bioterrorism, which is engineered virus. Wink, wink, right?
Yeah.
So these are just some of the things that I had on the list that I wanted to kind of talk about. So I'm hoping that this movie gave you guys a time that you sat back and thought, what would I do in the event that something like this happens?
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of the
Comments?
Sorry, some of them are going by fast enough that I kind of miss them, or I catch a glimpse of something. But there's a lot of good activity going on in the chat.
Valerie S. says they're hiding in plain sight. I mean,
yep, absolutely.
Isn't it something that could happen? I mean, when I saw that, I said, this is how they could do it. This is how they could overcome, and you mentioned earlier today that the United States, not to get political or anything like that, but the United States is so divided right now. And what did the scripture says? The scripture says that a house divided cannot stand. We are so divided right now that we would be easy pickings.
Oh, absolutely. We have so many divisions for so many things amongst so many. And it was interesting in the movie, and I mentioned it to Miss C earlier. I thought it was interesting. We told you about the sheriff that was going to be the local big guy. And this man actually had the time, and I guess he felt that he was so entitled that he could actually be racist. One of the characters was
Hispanic
a
guy.
Hispanic guy who was renting at this cabin where the main family was
Right,
at.
he didn't speak English.
And it was so interesting to me that this sheriff felt that he didn't have water.
Of all of the catastrophes and things that were going
everything
on,
else that's going on
all around them.
It was actually kind of, it was weird.
He found enough time and hate in his heart
Right. Right.
to be racist. And you brought that up right away. It was like, look at this guy, with everything that's going on. And another thing that got us in the movie also is when the husband and I don't know, the main character,
Yeah.
when he decided that they were running out of supplies, water and food, he took it upon himself to ask to
No.
put the renter, which is the Hispanic guy, to put him outside of the cabin to fend for himself. And I was furious. I was like, what is he thinking? What is he doing? Because if you watch the movie, you will notice that when the young lady, the sister-in-law goes off with the little girl, and they get attacked.
Yeah, they're stranded.
They're stranded and they get attacked, and they separate. The little girl goes one way, and the woman goes another way. And so the little girl is missing, and the mother of the little girl is at home, and they're waiting to see if they're going to come home.
Right.
And so she's there with this man who is the renter, and she's worried. And the renter took it upon himself to go out, find someone who could help him, and they found the little girl. They tracked down the little girl and brought her home safely. And thereafter, the little girl's father is so selfish,
yeah,
in wanting to keep whatever supplies that they have to themselves, that he puts this man out who helped them.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? At this point in time, I know that some of you guys out there have talked about being lone wolves, and you don't want to be able to trust anybody. But you know what? When you get to the point where you're out in a situation like that, and then there was an older man who lived a few yards away in another cabin, and he had a gun, he had weapons, and he had a good mindset. I thought,
yeah,
I would have, if we were in that situation, we would have
pooled our resources.
We would have pulled our resources. We would have chosen either his place or our place. We would have chosen one place, and we would have pulled our resources so that we would work together.
Yeah.
They would have our back and we would have their back, so to speak. You don't get rid of friends. You don't get rid of people who you can trust in a dire situation. That was like a big fail. You don't do that.
And it's kind of funny for the folks that are on here that actually haven't seen the movie, so I'm sure we kind of lost a lot. But if you get a chance to see the movie, there were so many things that were just, especially for us sitting back and watching the movie,
Mm-hmm.
we could see this stuff.
Right.
And it was real easy to recognize.
Well, and Pamela Montgomery, she says, you said he had to make a decision on who he was going to see, and I'm assuming save, and that would have been the Spanish guy or his daughter.
Sure.
And that was, and she says that was his reason, and people are going to think like that, and that is so true. And this is when we start talking about frenemies.
Yeah, no.
Who's going to give you up, or who's going to make a decision like that, where it's between he and I and someone else that we're trying to help out.
Right.
And you're right. It is a decision that we all are going to have to, possibly face in the future of who do you help out and how far do you go with this help?
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me, I thought it was interesting in the fact that, that there was a lot of missed opportunities. The man had already proven himself to the entire family, first and foremost, and he obviously had no place to go. The neighbor, they should have insisted that they pull their resources together. The whole lone wolf thing. I mean,
Right, because
everybody wants, they kind of feel, and I agree with that statement. I mean, I would have a real hard time going to people that I don't know, or trying to put my trust into people I don't know. But in the movie, if you get a chance to see it, you'll see that these people, they've already proven themselves as reliable and worthy to work together.
And while the young lady was on the road, when her car broke down with the little girl, and they were attacked, that when they got back to safety,
Yeah.
that should have been an eye opener for everybody that was in the
Yep.
in that family. It should have been an eye opener that people are going to do things when they become desperate, and that's one of the reasons why I was saying that when you are in a situation like that, if you have people who can have your back and you can trust, you can fight off an attack better in numbers than you can individually. The older guy was at his place, and his place was being attacked.
Right.
And he got killed in this movie. And I think that he may not have been killed like that, excuse me, if he had, if they were together, they would have worked together. I think they would have had a better chance of fighting off these guys that came to take their resources.
Right.
So, in the end, of course, he does, the main character does use a gun, and he does defend his family, and he also does defend the renter. And it's funny because when I told my husband, the minute he put that renter out of the cabin, I said, he's going to need that man sometime.
Yeah.
At some one point in this movie, he's going to need him. And sure enough, at the end, he did need him. This man took him and his family across the border to his family so that they could survive.
Right.
So, I thought it was a pretty good movie, and I really wanted to share it with you guys.
One of the things I really liked about it was that there were a lot of good eye-opening things and things that you could look at and evaluate and go, okay, yeah, I can see that. Does a get-home bag in my car make sense? Does having a couple of other items in the car make some sense? Yeah, it does, because you really don't know what's going to happen. And if the stuff sits there, okay, so you rotate your water, during the seasons. Blankets, you're probably not going to need your snow gear in the summer. So you're going to want to rotate things out a little bit, but you're also going to want to make sure you got like a first aid kit and some munchies and things like that, because you don't know what's going to happen. There were a lot of really good things in there. One of the things I found kind of interesting was in the beginning when this attack first occurred. The TV kind of went off, and everybody's cell phone, because they were using GPS on the phone to track people. I thought that part was interesting only because the guy took everybody's cell phone and then started breaking them. I thought that was actually really silly. A cell phone has multiple uses, so I agreed with you want to stop it right away, you want to shut it down.
What he was doing was he was trying to shut down the ability to be tracked.
Right.
And you caught on that right away because you asked me what would, one of the first things that I would do, and I didn't think to remove the tracking so that from the phone so that they wouldn't track us. So he brought that up, and I thought, okay, that's something you need to share with the family. So you want to disable the phone to the point where you can't be tracked,
right?
But you don't have to destroy the phone.
Because the phone has other things. There's flashlights. You may have emergency numbers listed in there if and when you do get cell phones, or maps or directions, or personal documents that you have in an electronic form. So, and
don't destroy your phone.
Yeah.
And then think about it too. That was what, 2013, 2014.
Right.
So they may not have had flashlights on the phone at that point in time. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the phones are far more advanced now, and they have other uses.
There's
so don't destroy completely. You don't have to completely destroy your phone. And I thought that was a good tip.
Yeah. From the tracking standpoint, absolutely. I would turn off GPS, and I can see shutting the phone off and pulling the battery, because as long as a battery is in it and your GPS is on, the phone can be tracked.
Yeah.
The other thing is being mindful of when you're around cell phone towers, it's activated because you're going to be on the closest one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was just a bunch of really cool things that gave you something to think about, and that's kind of why
Right,
we
right,
decided to do this with everybody, just to get your input.
right. Shalom, Kim B. Shalom, shalom. It's good to see you here, sweetheart. And also Sophie Yachts, good to see you here as well. And then I wanted to make a point here. Mary C. The bracelet was truly the mark of the beast. And you know what? I thought the same thing, Pamela Montgomery at Homestead. I thought the same thing. You weren't able to go and get supplies if you did not have this bracelet on. And then it got so bad that the supplies were few and far between. So then they were rationing it. And so if you had the bracelet, then you could get some of the
Yeah, you were entitled to
supplies.
a
You were
ration.
entitled to some of the supplies, but there were restrictions on wearing that bracelet. The young lady
Yeah,
lost her life because she went beyond the
she crossed a border that she didn't know was there.
right, and lost her life. And I'm going to tell you, I'm screaming at the TV at this point, and I'm saying, just roll her back into the yard. She's screaming and hollering that it's burning and it's this and the other, and you can see that it's killing her. And I'm like, roll her back into the safe area. And they weren't listening to me.
Well, it was funny because, just for those that don't know, it kind of put me in mindset of, they have wireless fences up for animals and
Yes,
dogs,
yes.
and that was the same scenario. You went past this border, and the bracelet started zapping you, and like, Miss C said, all they had to do was actually kind of roll her back
Well,
in.
that's what I was thinking. Unless the technology was such that once you've crossed it,
Well,
there was no going back.
that
If
could
that
be
would, I
too.
don't know, but I just kept saying,
Yeah,
just
you're
roll her
right.
back into the yard, just and everything would be okay. But here we are. This is an example of what is written in scriptures. Am I right? I'm agreeing with you,
Yeah,
Pamela, that's what I was thinking when I saw that. And how hard would it be for them to develop something like that? And how many people do we know would be willing to put that bracelet on just to make sure that they had the water and the food, um, just because they didn't would not want to be inconvenienced?
right.
We know people who
Yeah,
who would do it. we
in a
we know
heartbeat.
people who would do it in a heartbeat, and they would turn you in for not doing it.
Yep. It's really kind of interesting. I mean, if you just think about people throughout the day, you could go, yeah, okay, I could see that, you know. And some of the prepping stuff, it takes a little bit of thought, and um, trying to think about everything.
Hmm.
It is really daunting, but some of these movies are great because I find them kind of inspiring, in the fact that, it does make you think. It does, hey, what do you think about this? What could we do against that?
Hmm.
So it's just kind of interesting.
And look, family. You've heard me say it once before, and I'll say it again. We're in a crisis right now. We're in a crisis for our survival. Food shortages and energy, and just you name it. We're in a crisis
Yeah.
right now. Who has time at this point to be racist? Who has time to be racist? We don't have time for crazy and division when you're trying as human beings to survive.
I just saw that, and I was like, it kind of floored me. This guy's out at a family's house because apparently the big boss man didn't have enough rations that he got from everybody who was getting rations, that he could go out to somebody else's house, first of all, and try to get
So he sold
water.
his soul for rations that
Right.
that he wasn't even able to get.
But in the meantime, I'm feeling uppity enough that, I can be a racist. I was like, oh my God. I mean, talk about way out of left field.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah,
and
but I
and
could see it happening, and that's
That's the sad part about it. That is the sad part about it.
Yeah. I don't have anything in my home. I can't feed myself, but I've got time to be a racist, or I can be a real jerk concerning anything.
Yes, yes.
I'm that entitled.
Yeah. Nava, you're asking who this man is to my side here. This is my husband. Yes, this is Mr. C. We have been married some.
Oh, here's a good one for you guys. See the face? See the face?
Okay.
She's not alone.
I was just gonna say, you tell them when we were married, dear.
Right, exactly. You probably haven't seen too many couples that have absolutely no idea
what's the date? Do we know the date?
June 10th.
I think you're right.
The year, not a clue.
It's a lot of years.
Yeah, we're somewhere around 30 plus-ish.
Okay. I'll agree with him because
we're taking a shot in the dark.
We've been married for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's the type of person that dates aren't that important to him, and they're definitely not important to me. We know that we've been together for forever. Yeah. He's a good man. Yep. And he's got my back. I got his back. So we've been here for each other for all this time, and we're gonna stick it out to the end together. So if anyone out there has an issue with us being together, it's a personal problem on your end and not ours. So right. We just live. We live and we love. Yep. We go day by day, and we try to make it in this world that we live in. And so far, the Most High has been very good to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Diana Mendoza says, we're all God's children, that's for sure. We're here together. We're on this journey together. We come on so that we can help you guys to be ready, to prepare. And,
I'm kind of hoping that you'll give us some feedback and things that we haven't thought of.
Right. And you do often in the comment section. You guys are forever giving us some good ideas on things that we can do that we haven't even thought of. And then there are things that, you can only put so much in a video. Right. So there are things that we might know about, but we forget to mention. And one of you guys will come on and you will mention what we forgot to mention. So we work together on this journey. We're in this together.
Yeah.
Queen Zion says, absolutely beautiful. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Malik, loving couple. No problem. Golden gold. Thank you. Thank you. So was this video helpful to you guys?
Yeah.
And did you find the movie informative, something that you could learn from?
I thought it was kind of interesting because it's an Amazon movie, Prime, I guess. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And, I couldn't tell you any of the actors or actresses' names.
No, I couldn't either.
And it was actually really good. Sometimes you see some of them and they might be a little quirky. Mm-hmm. This one, okay, maybe a little bit.
A little quirky.
But the storyline was good enough, and the whole idea behind it was, it could happen.
It could happen.
Enough that, it was worth watching. And I know there's a lot of the videos out there that follow the same kind of genre, or you got the zombie ones or whatever. But they all have some really interesting key points.
Right.
And just their other perspectives.
And the movie's name is Dragon Day, Nicole Fox. It's okay that you joined us a little bit late, but the movie's name is Dragon Day. And I hope you take the time to go out and look at it.
Yeah.
Like he said, it might be a little quirky, Yeah. It's not top of the line movie type of style, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But it was, I thought it was perfect for the time that we're living in today, because of all of the things that we're dealing with worldwide.
Yeah.
And it is looking towards a scarcity You know, we're living in the Bible days. As the Bible said, that we're going to get to the point where there will be starvation, there will be chaos, crime will increase. Um,
Yeah.
and we saw it in the movies. We saw that there were rogue groups that got
Yeah.
together to go in and steal supplies and you know, hurt people.
Right.
So crime will increase. So we're living in Bible times today. So we do need to be aware. So this movie I thought was appropriate for a time such as this. Could we be invaded? I believe yes we could, and I don't think it's a could it happen? I think it's when it's going to happen. I believe it will happen.
Well, and one of the things that I thought was interesting about that, it wasn't so much a boots on the ground. You know, I'm a big Red Dawn fan. That movie to me was awesome.
The original one.
Yeah, the original one was really awesome. But this one puts you in a real time perspective of, you know,
How could it happen?
we don't really need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we could put a couple of people that could already be here,
Use technology.
and
Yep.
you have enough people in your country, in a divided country, that are greedy enough, selfish enough,
Mm-hmm.
have no regards for others, that, you know, it's absolutely feasible.
Mm-hmm. And we're divided enough that we would fight one another.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
There isn't even
We're
a
divided
question.
enough that, yeah, we would separate ourselves into, you know, color crayons
Yeah.
and all kinds of crazy stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you've got red hair, I've got brown hair.
Yeah.
You know, it's just crazy stuff.
Right.
You know, you have this type of a car, and I've got this type of car. We're so divided that I could see it happening.
Yeah.
We would be easy pickings.
Yeah. I mean, if
And I
some,
see there a lot of people are saying that yes, it was helpful. They're glad they watched the movie.
yeah, it's a bit scary. I mean, I guess that's kind of part of the good thing, is it was scary, but it was one of those things, you know,
Hmm.
it makes you think a little bit.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the key thing in any disaster, any situation.
Hmm.
Stop and assess what's going on now. What do I need to do for my family, myself? You know, and everybody's
Hmm.
a little different. You
I
know?
love it. Deborah Lawrence, I picked up on it. We just didn't talk about it here. But you're so right. Deborah Lawrence says, did anyone else pick up on the reason for it all? Wouldn't pay our debt. So
Yeah.
they sold us out. And that, I believe, is reality.
Yeah.
I really do. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Because we talked about that too.
Yep.
We talked about it off the camera.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that you brought it up. Yes. What else did we miss?
I don't know. There's a lot.
Esther
of
says that
stuff
I will
going
look
on.
up the movie. Okay. I Am Awake says it was crazy how up to date it was considering how old the movie was. Okay, you haven't finished watching it yet. Got a bit scary. Yeah, take a little bit of a break from it. Yeah, like Mr. C was saying, it is a little scary, on the scary side, but it makes you think, and
Yeah.
that's why we watched it,
Yeah.
and then we came away from it saying, I don't know that we're really ready.
Yeah. We have to, you know,
There are
it was
things
like
more. There are more things that we need to prepare for.
we need to evaluate
Yes.
things a little better.
Yes.
I mean, the worst part is there is nobody out there, well, other than God, but there's nobody out there that has a clue on everything.
Yeah.
And there
100%
is,
proof of, foolproof methods or
Right.
ways of doing anything to survive. And one of you sweet people in the chat said it. You're going to do it your way. And what do we say? You must do what works,
for you.
because we again are not the experts.
Right.
We're loving on you, and we're sharing with you, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
Uh, I can put the YouTube version, Kim B. I can put the YouTube a link to the YouTube movie. It's a full length movie on the description of this video when it gets done uploading.
Right.
I'll put it out there so that you can see it. So I'll put it out there. Again, it is kind of on the grainy side. They say it's not the best. I did not watch the one on YouTube, but I was going based on what the comments were saying about it. It's not the best. If you have access to Amazon Prime, that's probably the better way of watching it. If you do not, you can see it on YouTube, and it is full. It is a full length. It's just not as clear to watch. So I'll make sure that I put that in the description. I'll put it up towards the top. I'll put a link to the movie, the YouTube movie. Okay, so if that helps.
Hey, and if any of you guys have seen any other good movies out there?
Gloria, I'm sorry, real quick. Gloria Aquino says that she put the link in the comments, but it keeps disappearing. It's because it's scrolling, I think, Gloria. I don't know why it would disappear otherwise. I don't believe that the moderators are getting rid of it. So if you put it up there once again, I'm sure that people will see it. And you guys will be able to click on it. Thank you for putting it up there, Gloria.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you.
I was just going to ask if anybody finds anything else out on whatever that's along the lines that's pretty decent. If you could maybe send us the name of the movie so we could try to look them up.
Mm-hmm. And I did see some in the chat. Things were going so quick.
Yeah.
We missed some of them. So some of you guys were actually mentioning other movies that are along the same lines that we can watch. So we'll have to go through the comments section later on and see if we can find some of them and watch them.
Ooh, Book of Eli, that was a good movie.
Good movie, yes. And in the Book of Eli, I'm going to go off subject a little bit. The Book of Eli,
Not
to
you.
me, yes, I'm going to go funny. Watch yourself. But the whole premise is this: the bad guy in that movie wanted the Bible so badly that he was willing to destroy everything he had in order to get that book. And it just reminds me of the scripture that tells us that in these last days that there's going to be a famine. And it's not, at this point, it's not the famine of food, but it's the famine of the word. And so that's what that reminds me of. There was a famine because he had the only one. And it was so good in the end of that movie. And if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, I'm giving you all the spoilers here. But at the end of that movie, it was so good to see that towards the end, that the bad guy got the book that he wanted so badly. He killed, or he fought for it. Okay, injured Eli. He fought for it. He got the book, but he couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
He couldn't do anything because it was written in Braille.
Right.
And he couldn't read Braille. I thought that was like the best ending.
Yeah,
it was great.
Perfect.
It was great.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Monica. Monica.
Oh, Monica says you guys are so sweet together. Thank you. I think I'll keep him.
Me too.
Oh, do you have to?
That's right.
Yeah, I know. So it's rough for you, I know. All right. So I'm sure that you guys have things that you want to do.
Yes.
Barb Saar says that I just finished watching the movie Dragon Day. Well, tell us, Barb, what'd you think?
Oh, now we put her on the spot.
Oh, yeah, we put you on the spot. Sorry about that.
Oh, you have to pay her rent in that movie on the YouTube?
Well, no, I was able to find it. So we'll see if we're gonna figure it out one way or another. I'll put it, if I can get access to that link, I will put it in the description. But right now it was free. Before today, it was free. It was free. So I believe that there is one that's out there that is free. The same thing on Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime, it is free to see Dragon Day. Oh, okay. Grandma Yah is explaining something I did not know, and it's to you, Gloria. Thank you for trying to put the link in the chat. Grandma Yah is saying YouTube doesn't allow you to post links in the chat not unless you are a moderator. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you, Grandma Yah. Okay, Peggy Feaster says, great live. Blessings to you, Mary, and your wonderful husband. We're going to watch the movie again. Saw it long ago. Good, good. Thank you. And Barb Saar says that she watched it for free. So it's out there. Grandma Yah put it out there. No, that's Beauty in the Light.
Oh, Beauty in the Light.
Beauty in the Light. Thank you so very much, sweetheart. Blessings to you, my darling. I'm so grateful to you guys for all of the help that you give us. Thank you so very much. Barbara Saar said she Googled the movie and watched it for free.
Good.
Okay. So at this point in time, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
You sure?
All good.
All good. Well, guys, we are very, very grateful that you spent this time with us.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. And I'm praying that it was something that edified you. You got some good things from it. We were able to share one with the other. And we will do another live sometime in the near future. Yeah, I have to kind of coerce him to do it. But for the most part, he does really well. But we'll come on live again as a couple and talk to you guys because he's got some really good ideas. And I want to say this. I was prepping before him. I did it for 9 years before he came on board. So any of you that are out there that have family members that you're having a hard time convincing to get on board with you, it's possible with prayer and fortitude. Just stick with it. Do what you can now until they come on board. And when they come on board, they come on with the quickness. And then when he got on board, I mean, he's doing much more now than I do sometimes. So he is definitely on board. So anyhow, I want to say to you guys what I always do. I love you so very much, but I'm going to extend it. I'm going to say, we love you so very much because you are family. And know this.
For joining us.
Say it again.
Oh, I just wanted to say thanks for joining us. It was nice. Hoping some people actually go out and look at some other movies and whatnot. Give us some hints. So we've got something we can check out and maybe we could do this again.
Yes. And know this, that the Most High God, he loves you so much more. Shalom, everyone. Thanks again. Thanks, moderators.